Good morning. Today I'm going to be talking about learning to be satisfied with what you have. This lesson that I'm currently learning right now, slash finding an apartment, because this might be good for anyone who's trying to find an apartment in Albania, and like just some questions to reflect. It's not, I haven't done this like in exact sections. It's kind of like interwoven throughout everything. Again, just like last time, I just like took some notes on my notebook so I don't forget anything I want to say. But I'm going to first start off with talking about how I want slash wanted slash still want. Sorry for the noise in the background. That's life. I wanted to remodel my house to look nice, and this word "nice," of course, is subjective and it's different for everyone. But like, I had a vision of what that looked like for me, because like right now, like the sofas that I have in my house or that came with this apartment are older, and of course I can't get rid of them. There's no place to put these two big ass sofas that are in here. The cabinets, I don't necessarily love the cabinets and how they look. They're two different colors on the top and the bottom, and I kind of wanted something more unison or unified or one color. The table that's in my house is fucking old as hell. Like, even when you put a tablecloth over it, again, basically none of the things in the apartment I would consider to be modern, except perhaps the ceilings on the balcony. I would say those are modern and in air quotes nice. But one of the things that kind of helped me turn my thinking around is now, I don't know what I was listening to this week, but something came up and it made me pop the question in my head of how would I want my house to look like? Sorry, how would I want my house to look like if no one ever saw it, if no one ever came inside and it was just me? And I had this idea of, okay, I'd like my house to look nice, obviously, but nice was tantamount to being modern in my head. And I had to ask myself, why? Why for me is like something that's modern. Do I classify that automatically as being nice? Because like right now, I would not. My kitchen is okay, but it's not modern, and therefore for me, it's not nice. And I know this because I've wanted a kitchen that's, because I like to cook. I love to cook actually, and I wanted to make cooking videos, but I never felt like my kitchen was nice enough to make cooking videos, if that makes sense. Um, and sorry, I'm like looking at my notes again, the things I wanted to mention. Okay, yeah, one of the other things I want to talk about or mention is just that I think I have this in mind. I think it's like my inner American, or just being surrounded by American culture and American spending habits, where maybe it's just my personal experience with the way I grew up and the people I grew up around in my circle and outside of my circle that I just had access to, not necessarily like friends or family, but houses that I've seen, is that I notice a lot of people in America, we have a very consumeristic, I don't know if that's the word, culture where I don't know, we're like doused in consumerism, where it's like, okay, I gotta have the matching curtains, matching table set, the matching cutlery. I have to have this accent color on this wall. I need this type of sofa. I need this type of recliner. Where we focus on a lot of things in a house that we don't necessarily need to survive, but just to make it nice and comfortable. And so then I started to ask this question to myself this week to kind of help me pinpoint. I'm still kind of working through this process right now. And one of the questions I asked myself was, what are the things that would affect me the most emotionally? Just like in general, not in terms of the house, but like I was like, okay, death would affect me emotionally a lot. And I think that would extend to just all relationships ending in general, would be the wider umbrella term for death. That could be like my romantic relationship ending, relationship with a friend ending. This type of stuff would affect me greatly. I think anything that is physical, like my physical state or my health, these are the things that would affect me the most emotionally. But then when I think about my house and the things that are inside my house, there are changes that I've wanted to make. And yeah, these things bother me, but I'm still coming to the realization that these things are really insignificant um, inside my house, and so that I should focus more on comfort rather than what I think is nice in terms of what society thinks and in comparison to what I think, because I don't think I have differentiated what's nice according to Kivon, what's nice according to, everyone else who's not Kivon. And a part of this, I think, I falling into the social media trap, because I'm back using TikTok again because it's helping me learn Albanian. And one of the things I've seen is like these apartments in Bangkok have been popping up on my feed. Apartments in China have been popping up on my feed, where everything is really nice. It has amenities like a pool, gym, study room, work area, whatever you can think of. It's just like these apartments. They're maybe luxurious is what I would be looking for. I haven't thought about that word yet, but maybe luxurious or just, I don't know, modern and extremely convenient for several different aspects of your life. And one of the questions that I've been asking myself is, what is it about me that makes me attracted to these things? And I think one of the answers that popped into my mind was the lack of personality or not knowing myself. Because when I say lack of personality, I mean that every house that I have seen has had the same aesthetic. Sorry, I'm shivering because it's cold outside. And again, my partner's sleeping, so I don't want to wake him up. Every house I've seen has had the same aesthetic. And this means like if you were to go 200 years into the future and look back at all the houses right now that you see, I don't know, on your social media, you would be able to classify that immediately and go, oh, this is a 2020s type look. And in that sense, I would say that the houses lack personality because it's closer to a time on what everyone else has, what everyone else is doing, rather than what does Kivon's house look like. And I think in order for a house to become a home, there has to be some level of individuality. And that's kind of like, I'd like to approach remodeling my house focusing on individuality and focusing on having my house reflect, damn, there's a lot of honking, having my house reflect who I am at that moment. So that means like if I want to change, let's say this chair that I'm sitting in, that I wouldn't change it because it looks dated or because it looks old, but I would change it based on, is this the type of chair that I want to sit in from now on? Because like right now, like the current phase of life that I'm in my like sit on the floor phase. I can probably show you guys as well. It's probably the most that anyone will ever see of my apartment. But like, so for example, I'm like in the sit on the floor phase right now, where I like sitting on the floor, but maybe in, I don't know, 5 years, I won't like this anymore. Maybe my knee will start hurting where I'll cherish like high stools. And at that point, I think that's when I should change my living conditions and not change it just based on, oh, this looks a little bit old. Like for example, I'm gonna take this off the thing for a second. Hold on. Like you can kind of see like the little floor seating I have over there where I could sit like with my friends in the balcony. I am kicking myself right now because I'm going to have to edit this video, and I would have liked to record it in one go, but as I was showing you the floor, I put the camera back in the tripod thing and I stopped recording. Damn it, because I really love a one flow type video where I can just record and not have to edit or do anything like that. So the next thing I was going to say is like finding apartments in Albania. Apartments here range a lot, and I think that's to be expected because it's a developing country. So you might see things like really old furniture, like I have in my apartment, really old appliances, buildings without elevators, and all types of things like this. And so what I was missing was that I knew I wanted something nice, but I never understood why I wanted something nice. And I think that's one of the biggest revelations that I had. And like, here's like an exercise that my grandma taught me. It's to always ask the question why 6 times. And so I started doing that. I was like, okay, Kivon, why do you want nice things? And my initial response was, okay, I want to be comfortable. Then I was like, okay, why do you want to be comfortable? And I realized I wanted convenience and I wanted like a certain type of look or aesthetic. And then I asked myself, well, why does that matter? It doesn't matter. And then the fourth why, then why do you want it? And I think the answer to that is that my sense of self-value is tied to what I have and not who I am, which is, in other words, if I don't have shit, I ain't shit. That's the best way I can say it. And then if I would ask myself, okay, well, why are you like this? I think the answer would be that growing up, I got to see the difference between what others had and what I had. And I don't think I ever, at least not at a conscious level, maybe subconsciously, I don't think I ever thought to myself, not the type of jealousy where you're upset with the other person. You could still be happy for them. At least I was still happy for people, but the type of jealousy of like, oh damn, I would like that too. That's kind of what it felt. And again, I grew up middle class. I would say very privileged for other people in my demographic because I had my parents are still alive. I have two great parents, communicate very well. I would say that they raised me with good morals as well. So objectively, in terms of parenting, I think they did a good job with me, especially in terms of their mindsets, especially my dad's mindset. I admire how he thinks a lot. So like, I know better is basically what I'm trying to say, but I never actually took the time to sit down and think to be better, is maybe how I can say that. But one of the things that I'm realizing is that I'll never be satisfied because my value is, for some reason, it feels intrinsically connected with what I have and how others view what I have. And so like, now that I know this, I have to ask myself, okay, how can I undo this? And I guess the only way I can undo this is by trying to develop an attitude to live like no one is watching. And I think once I do that, then you can reach like true happiness or freedom or bliss. But as of now, that's not possible because I still care what other people think to an extent though. Because like for example, I didn't do my hair this morning. It just looks like this. I woke up like this. So in that sense, like I don't care necessarily how I always present myself. But on the other end, I do care because I threw a fucking hoodie on. And so you couldn't see the shirt underneath. But also it's cold. So I don't know, I'm kind of back and forth. I don't know if you can ever truly not care what people think, even though others say that. I don't know how true that is, because I think to some extent we're always going to care because we have to interact with other people. The only group of people I think that don't care at all what others think is that, I don't know what they're called. Maybe they're called something like agora, like the people in India that sometimes put like white ash on their face. They grow their hair out in like free-form locks. They drink out of human skulls. They don't have like a concept of good and bad, but everything is just but they're kind of like indifferent towards a lot of things. I would say this is a group of people that sincerely does not care what others think. I think the rest of us, myself included, even when I say I don't care what others think, I do care, but perhaps what I'm saying is that I won't let it affect my decision making. And I think just being aware of knowing how unsatisfied I am with myself and how I'm trying to like put that into material objects inside my house, just knowing this will help me make better decisions. Because again, like 2 weeks ago, I would have never thought about, oh, how would I want my house to look if no one came inside of it? Never crossed my mind before. So here are like some questions you can ask yourself to like as your apartment hunting in Albania, because I know this is difficult for a lot of people. Everyone has different expectations, budgets and whatnot. So questions that I guess I'm asking myself that I'm gonna share with you that maybe it can help you on your house hunting journey. First is like, what kind of environment makes you feel calm? For me, it's one, maybe you just like my plants. I really like my plants. Like, it makes me feel really calm when I can come here on my balcony and just look out at the sky and just have like a bunch of green in front of me. I like that. Does your house have, or what kind of sunlight are you going to have, or does it have a balcony so you can be outside? Because of course I think being outside is semi-important, especially if you're like me and you're working from home all the time. You need to sometimes go outside without going outside. Another question you can ask yourself is, what do I want to feel when I walk through the door? An analogy that you can use is like, would you rather have, or what gives you more of an emotional, I don't know, pull or reaction? Would it be like that TV hanging on your wall, or would it be like a picture of you and someone who you love that's passed away, like on the wall? Like, which one would give you that feeling that you want to feel when you walk through the door? I should also add, I have not had a TV in my house I've not, since, I mean, I've never had one in Albania. I've never owned a TV or bought a TV. So it's been 8 years, maybe even more. I think even before Albania, I wasn't really watching TV. So I haven't had a TV in my house in a long time. And this is a tangent. I personally like not having a TV. I'm considering getting one now after all this time has passed because my partner likes to game, and I feel like gaming would be a better experience on a TV with an actual console. But one of the things that I want for my house is that when people come over, I want them to interact and engage with each other. And I noticed that when I go to other people's houses who actually have a TV and we're with a group, the TV always gets turned on, and I feel like that, I don't know, it stops or halts conversations from happening. So that's one of the reasons I don't have a TV and I don't like having a TV, because like if I'm watching something for myself, I'll watch it on my phone, I'll watch it on my laptop, I can hook up the monitor. I don't care because again, I'm doing it for myself. The TV would be for other people. And when I have other people at my house, I don't necessarily want them in front of the TV. But that's just me. Another question you could ask yourself is, which design choices do I like versus which are trending? And I think this was a good one for me to think about, because a lot of the things that I like coincidentally are also trending, which I think what is trending has influenced what I like, rather than for me to ask, do I actually like this? Oh my God, I'm sorry, I keep freezing or shivering. Another one is, do dated looks bother me? And for me, I would say yes, they do / did. They still bother me, but I can kind of see the beauty in something that is dated. Because like you'll notice everything is relative. So for example, I saw some house that looked like had like a 90s vibe, like everything from the 90s as if it was frozen in time. And I was looking at this on social media. I was like, oh wow, this is cute. This is nice. I like this. But something that looks maybe 15 years old, which is not old enough to be considered, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe retro. Not old enough to be considered retro, but just old enough to be considered ill. Like that's what I didn't like. But I'm trying to learn how to appreciate that, because that ew type of thing at some point will become retro and will become, I don't know, cool. So like it just cycles back or cycles through. Another thing I had to ask myself, or question for reflection, is, do I like blank because I like it, or because it signals some type of status? And I think for me, the status part was one of the bigger motivation factors in terms of how I wanted to remodel my house. Again, I think that comes from with not being satisfied with yourself. So you put that in your belongings and say, okay, I need something modern, because you feel, of course, it makes you feel nice, but it also makes you feel nice because it gives you some type of status, like you're not living like the broke bitches type of vibe. The other thing is, you can ask yourself, does the style reflect who I am or who I think I should be? And at this moment, like with my apartment, the style of it, I would say my balconies might reflect who I am. Also maybe the inside of my house, because the inside of my house is relatively open. I don't like having a lot of stuff in my house. Not that I'm a minimalist, because I was at some point, but I grew out of that. That was just a phase for me, because I felt that was not completely balanced. I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, I'm trying to make sure that my house reflects who I am, so that when I'm in the house, I feel like, oh, this is me. I don't know how to explain that feeling, but that's what I would like my house to become. And it's basically there right now, since I've been living in it for at least 3 years. The next question is, how much space do I really need? I can say this for myself. I have 2 relatively large balconies, and I only sit in a section of each balcony, so there's space that's unused. We have 2 bedrooms. We don't use a second bedroom, it's only for guests. So technically it's nice, it's additional, but it's not necessary because we don't need it. We don't need 2 balconies, we don't need 2 bathrooms, but it's convenient, it's nice to have, but it's not a necessity. So I think that also can help you, I don't know, narrow down your options. It's basically looking at, what do you actually need to be happy? Because it also ties into, am I using the space that I'm paying for? Because if you're paying for it, you're not using it, what's the point? And I think one of the biggest defining questions is probably like for you, what is the difference between a house and a home? Like that Luther Vandross song. Oh, I'm gonna fuck up the lyrics where he says, "A chair, still a chair, even if no one is sitting there. But a house, but a house is not a home if there's no one there to turn the key." I don't know. I can't remember what the lyrics are, but he basically is saying that a home is where you have like love, you have comfort, you have people, you have memories. That's what essentially a home should be. A home is not an electric stove or, I don't know, accent colors. That's not what a home is. A home, people make the home. Inviting your friends over makes the home. And so I made this video because yesterday I asked my partner, we were coming from Lichani after running, and I was like, okay, what would you like the house to look like if no one else were to see it, like not even me? Like, how would you like your ideal apartment to look like? And he said to me, I actually have never thought about that. And I was like, you never thought about that before? Like, would you, like, not that specific question, but like renovations or changes you'd like to make in the apartment? He was like, no, I haven't thought about that. He goes, keep on, we've had other concerns than to think about that. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I didn't realize, I was like, damn, I'm in a really good place in life right now where I can afford to think about trivial things like, what's the inside of my house going to look like? So at that moment, I also I was very appreciative of where I am, because there are people in Palestine who also all over the world, actually. There are people struggling here, and even in probably the richest country in the world, there are people going through shit, people going through divorces that are stopping them from thinking about anything else in life right now. So I can say I must be doing relatively good where I'm in a space where I can actually consider like how I would want the inside of my house to look like. I'm in a space where I can actually take the time to think without too much stress. Even though, of course, my life isn't perfect, but that was just a moment for me. I was like, oh damn, it's just me living in my head, because every fucking day I would be like, I want to change this, I want to change this is gonna go next, this is gonna go next. Like the sofas I mentioned in my house are really fucking old. I was looking for a sofa like throw to put over it, but I can't fucking find them here in this country. I don't know where they are. So instead I went to the store Yusk and I bought I think they're called bed throws or bed covers, big ass things. I bought 2 gray ones and I just plopped them over the sofa because I can't get rid of them, I can't change them, I can't throw them away or anything like that, so I just covered them. But the crazy thing is, last weekend as I was cleaning, I noticed, I was like, you know what? These old, fugly sofas are not that bad. Like, I just had like a quick moment like that where the sofas that I hated so much, I started to hate them less. And I feel like that moment last week when I started to hate my sofas a bit less was a trigger for me to think about how satisfied I am with the stuff that I have. Why was I not satisfied with these sofas before? What would it take for me to change my mentality where I could be very satisfied with these sofas and even love these old sofas? Like, because everything outward is a projection of what I'm feeling internally. So like, if I don't love these sofas, what does that say about me? If I can't change my environment, what can I change internally to give me a better relationship with my environment? And so these are the type of things that I've been thinking about a lot. Okay, I think this is probably the end of the video. So yeah, if you're apartment hunting in Albania, just be aware that not only in Albania, anywhere in life, wherever you are right now, if you're considering making renovations to your home or moving somewhere else, buying a house, anything like that, even you can apply this to a car, your room, bathroom, just do what you want to do and what's going to make you the most comfortable, because that's going to give you the most satisfaction. And understand also the reasons why you're doing things as well. I think that was one of the biggest things for me that I had not really considered, is that I wanted to make all these changes to my house, but I didn't understand that they're going to leave me empty because there are changes that I need to make to myself before I can even appreciate the things that I have around me. And so that's basically it. I hope everyone has a nice day. So I know people have been emailing me. They've been using my Lucid Dreaming. It's not my main email that I post here, so I don't check it that often. I have seen some of the responses. I'm gonna try to reply, but I apologize if I don't respond too quickly. But that's all. I hope everyone has a nice day. Love, peace, hair grease. Peace. Bye.